In this dev update, we want to talk about the character AI we said we would complete in November, and spoiler alert, we did finish something, but we ran into a few problems. We do have solutions to those problems, and we'll talk more about those soon, as well as explain everything that's been going on, so we're all on the same page. We posted the first dev update about 4 months ago, talking about how we got 10,000 signups in 3 days, and that we plan to finish the first part of the character recommendations around November. We were talking about finishing these things called character embeddings, and they're needed for the whole character recommendation system to work properly. We don't need to get into how it all works right now, but just know that, like all other complex AI systems, these require a huge amount of high quality data to train on. So we started to work on a scraper that went all over the web and gathered a bunch of anime data for us. Then we cleaned up everything it collected and used it as training data for our character embedding AI. And now let's talk about some of the problems we ran into. We basically rushed the development of this part due to the deadline we gave ourselves. We started gathering data with some old scrapers we made in the past, but they were pretty slow. So we tried to optimize that old code a little bit, and that did make things faster, but they weren't perfect. And we actually had to cut the scraping short because of the time crunch we were under. While we were cleaning up everything it collected, we noticed that the data was pretty inconsistent. The level of quality was all over the place, and only like 1% of the data collected was actually usable. And an AI is only as good as the data it was trained on, so it wasn't a surprise that the character AI was bad too. And now let's go over the solutions we'd like to implement. We've decided to do a full rewrite of our core code, and that's not a bad thing. That's probably one of the best things we could do in this situation. A full rewrite gives us the opportunity to organize all of our code, and allows me to make something I'm really proud of. Needless to say, the state of the scrapers before was pretty bad, and we want to make them as perfect as possible. Everything in this project builds off each other, so trying to perfect the scrapers as well as everything else will provide an amazing end product to WaifuDex users. This will lead to a slight delay in the launch of WaifuDex, but again, this will do great things for the future of the project. So here's the game plan for 2021. We'll start off with a full rewrite of the scrapers, and then use them to collect as much anime data as we can. Then we'll move on to a full rewrite of the website, and add the anime database to it. After that, we'll add tools that give anyone that wants to help us the ability to improve our anime database. We think this type of crowdsourcing is the only feasible way we'll be able to get enough high quality data for the AI to train on. But I know we can do this. I really love this idea of allowing our community to come together and make this project better, so there's definitely going to be a lot more opportunities in the future for you guys to contribute to WaifuDex and make it smarter. And I actually just wanted to take a minute to apologize for the slow updates and infrequent Twitter posts. I got a little carried away working on these big video projects for social media. They stole a lot of my time away from the project, so I've decided to solely focus on the development of WaifuDex for the foreseeable future. Growth may slow for a while, but that's okay. We have 44,000 beta signups. I think that's a great predictor of our future success, and we can always just pick the hype back up once we finish making a good product. I also want to do a better job at posting devlogs and keeping everyone up to date on Twitter. And I'm even thinking about streaming the development of WaifuDex on something like Twitch, but we'll see what happens. In conclusion, I'm really excited for the future of WaifuDex. The scope of the project has expanded way beyond just AI-powered recommendations, and we can talk more about that soon. Oh, and by the way, we're planning to launch an open beta for WaifuDex in 2021.